Hey there, coin lovers! Have you ever been going through your change, just grabbing a couple of pennies for the toll or a snack, when all of a sudden, boom, you find a penny that could make you a millionaire? Well, hold on to your wallets, folks, because today, we're talking about the 2019 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth an insane $1.1 million. Yep, you heard that right, a penny could be worth over $1 million. So if you've got a 2019 penny chilling in your coin jar, this video might just change your life. And let me tell you, I didn't believe it either at first, but hang tight, and I'll explain exactly why this little coin is causing a major buzz in the numismatic world. But before you start diving into every pocket and couch cushion to check your change, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you're not gonna wanna miss out on all the juicy coin tips and tricks coming your way. Alright, let's dig in. Alright, so let's talk about this 2019 no-mint Mark penny. Now, when most people think about coins worth a fortune, they're probably picturing rare old coins, maybe from the 1800s or something ancient like the 1943 copper penny. But, nope, today, we're focusing on a recent penny. A penny from just a few years ago. So what makes this 2019 penny worth $1.1 million? Well, it all comes down to a little mistake by the US Mint. You see, in 2019, some of the Lincoln pennies were struck without a mint mark on them, and that's the key. Let me break it down for you. Mint marks are those tiny little letters on coins that tell you where they were made. For example, if you see a D on a penny, it means it was minted in Denver. If you see an S, it's from San Francisco. But the 2019 no mint mark penny? No mint mark at all. It's like the penny's got no home, no identity, it's the coin equivalent of being a mystery. And mystery coins? Well, they can get pretty valuable, as it turns out. Now, don't get me wrong. This wasn't a huge, nationwide flub. These pennies are rare. I'm talking super rare. Like, imagine walking into a bakery and finding out that, instead of regular chocolate chips, they accidentally baked gold dust into your cookies. It's a rare mistake, and people are paying top dollar for it. Maybe that analogy was a bit much, but you get the idea. The point is, a coin from 2019 without a mint mark is an anomaly, and in the world of coin collecting, anomalies are worth their weight in gold, well, if gold were made of copper. Host holds up a regular 2019 penny, so here's the deal. Normally, a 2019 penny with a mint mark is worth, well, a penny. Like, 1 cent. But that no mint mark version? It's more like a treasure hunt coin. Numismatists, those fancy coin nerds, and trust me, I'm right there with them, went crazy when they found out there were a few of these no mint mark pennies floating around. And suddenly, bam! The value shoots up to $1.1 million. How do I get my hands on one of these magical pennies? And trust me, I've been asking the same question. But, here's the kicker. These pennies weren't just thrown into circulation all willy-nilly. No. They were made in small batches, and unless you've got eagle eyes and the luck of a leprechaun, you're probably not gonna find one just laying around in your pocket change. That said, there are a few out there. Let me tell you, I learned this the hard way. A few months ago, I was at a local flea market, and some guy was trying to sell me a rare 2019 penny. I took one look at it, and of course, it had a mint mark. Not $1 million penny, folks. But hey, at least I walked away with a cool story and a couple of old records. Moral of the story? Don't get too excited unless you know what you're looking for. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Maybe your next penny could be worth more than your car. Who knows? So, if you're out there checking your pennies, looking for that elusive 2019 no mint mark beauty, remember, it's rare, it's mysterious, and it could be worth a cool $1.1 million. But it's not going to fall into your lap just because you watched this video. You've got to keep your eyes peeled, stay patient, and keep learning. Who knows, maybe one day you'll be the lucky one to find it. If you've enjoyed this journey through coin history, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Because here at Coin Crazy, we've got more tips, tricks, and valuable coin info coming your way. You'll never know when the next $1 million penny could be sitting in your pocket. So subscribe, and let's go coin hunting together. Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters! Picture this: you're sitting in your living room, just going through a box of pennies you found at the bottom of your drawer, and boom, you find a penny that's worth $1 million. Sounds like a wild dream, right? Well, that's exactly what could happen if you happen to find the rare 1990 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard that right, it's worth up to $1.2 million, and I'm here to tell you why you might want to take a second look at your pocket change. Grab your magnifying glass, let's dive in. Okay, so let's start with the basics. The 1990 no-mint Mark penny is an absolute gem in the coin world. Normally, you'd expect to see a mint mark on the coin, right? Whether it's a D4 Denver or an S4 San Francisco, it's a pretty standard part of how the US Mint marks its coins. But the 1990 penny? It's missing the mint mark. Now, you might think, well, what's the big deal? Oh, my friends, that missing mint mark makes all the difference in a world where most pennies are just, well, pennies, literally worth just 1 cent. This little guy can fetch you a hefty $1.2 million if you find one in perfect condition. It's like finding a diamond in a sea of gravel. But here's the kicker: it's not just any 1990 penny that's worth big bucks. It's the one with no mint mark, and that's where the rarity comes in. Well, back in 1990, there was an error at the US Mint, which resulted in some Lincoln pennies being struck without the usual mint mark. It's believed to be a mistake that happened at the Philadelphia Mint. Some coins slipped through the cracks, literally. While the error was probably just an oversight at the time, it turned out to be one of the best accidents in coin history. These coins weren't just part of a small batch. They were part of the regular mintage. So, a bunch of them ended up circulating around the country, and most of them were spent like regular pennies. Talk about a hidden treasure in plain sight. Now, let's get to the million-dollar question: why is a penny worth so much? It's all about rarity and condition. There are only a few of these 1990 no-mint Mark pennies in existence, and they were never meant to be. Imagine getting a limited edition action figure that was only released to a small group of people, and then it gets discontinued. All of a sudden, it's worth a small fortune. The same goes for this penny. The condition is super important too. Like most rare coins, if it's in pristine condition, the price skyrockets. A 1990 penny that's well preserved, with sharp details and no wear and tear, could bring in that jaw-dropping $1.2 million. If it's got a few dings, scratches, or wear from being tossed around in your pocket for years, well, sorry, it won't make you a millionaire, but it's still a cool piece of history. Now, I can already hear you asking, how do I know if I have one of these treasures? Good news, finding one isn't impossible. Here's what you need to look for. The first and most obvious thing is, it doesn't have the mint mark. Look closely at the reverse side of the coin, under the 1 cent inscription. If there's no D or S, you've got yourself a contender. You're looking for a coin with little to no wear. A mint state penny will have sharp edges and a clean surface. If you see heavy scratches or discoloration, the value drops. I know most of you are probably like, I don't even know where my pennies are. I get it. I once found a box of pennies I had forgotten about in my attic, and I swear, I thought I had stumbled upon a goldmine. Unfortunately, it was full of those dull, worn-out pennies we all ignore. But I did find one that was kinda cool. It wasn't worth $1 million, but hey, it's a start. So, you've checked your pocket change, and you think you found a 1990 no-mint Mark penny? First off, don't get too excited just yet. Get it checked by a professional. Take it to a coin dealer or an expert to confirm that it's the real deal. They can verify its authenticity and condition. Once you've confirmed that it's a true rarity, the next step is to consider getting it graded. Grading is what helps establish the coin's value in the marketplace. A higher grade coin will get a higher value, and a professional grading service will help you determine if it's mint state or just well worn. The 1990 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, the rare coin that could make you a millionaire, or at least give you a really cool story to tell at your next family gathering. Remember, not every penny in your pocket is just a penny. Some could be worth more than you ever imagined. Be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want more tips, tricks, and coin strategies to help you discover even more hidden gems, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a chance to learn about coins worth a lot of money. Hey, what's up, coin lovers? Did you know there's a humble little penny out there, no bigger than the size of a dime, that could be sitting in your wallet, worth a staggering $1.3 million? No, I'm not talking about some rare ancient coin or a mystical treasure you've got to dig up from the ground. I'm talking about the 1968 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. You might be thinking, what? A penny? Are you sure about that? Oh, I'm absolutely sure. Trust me, this penny could be hiding in plain sight, and today, I'm going to tell you exactly why you need to check your change jar. Like right now, the 1968 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny might look like just another regular penny, but here's the kicker: it's one of the few coins out there that went a little off script when it was made. Now, let's rewind the clock to 1968. That was a pretty crazy year. The country was going through some major changes. People were protesting, music was rocking harder than ever, and let's be real, the fashion was, well, let's just say bell bottoms were a thing. But in the world of coins, something special was happening. In 1968, the US Mint produced tons of pennies, but there were a few of those pennies that ended up with some unusual characteristics. The 1968 D penny, with its mint mark, the D stands for Denver, became a rarity for reasons that still have collectors scratching their heads. There's an extremely rare error variant where some of these pennies were struck with a misalignment, a slight doubling of the date, and even sometimes the initials of the engraver, Frank Gasparo, appearing in strange places. These errors make the 1968 D penny one of the top contenders in the world of high-value coins. But these aren't easy to find. In fact, many of these pennies that made it out of the mint weren't in mint condition, so when one of them is, the value skyrockets. We're talking about $1.3 million on the high end. Okay, how do I know if I've got one of these magical $1 million pennies? Well, that's the fun part. Finding one is a bit like searching for a needle in a haystack, but here's how you can spot it. The first thing you'll want to check is the mint mark on the back of the penny. It's right underneath Abraham Lincoln's portrait. If it's a D, you're in the right ballpark. But don't stop there. Get a closer look at the date. Is it crisp and clear? Or does it have some doubling, like two dates overlapping? If you notice anything that looks a little off, bingo, you might be holding onto something that could make your wallet a little thicker. But hold up, here's a funny story from my own coin hunting days that'll make you laugh. A few years ago, I was going through a bunch of pennies in a box I bought at a yard sale. It was one of those grab all the change for a buck deals. Well, I'm looking through these pennies, and I swear, I thought I hit the jackpot with a 1968 penny I found. I was practically doing a victory dance, thinking it was the one. It was a regular 1968 penny, not a D mint mark. Rookie mistake, right? I was crushed. But hey, it was a great reminder that not all pennies are worth a fortune, and you really have to pay attention to the details. So, lesson learned, double check the mint mark, date, and condition. Alright, so if you do happen to have one of these 1968 D pennies, you're in for a treat. If it's in near perfect condition, it could fetch upwards of $1.3 million at auction, depending on the rarity and the error involved. The higher the grade, the more money it can bring in. But even if it's not in mint condition, don't get discouraged. This little penny could still be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. If you've got any 1968 D mint mark pennies lying around, take a closer look. You could be sitting on a goldmine without even knowing it. And hey, even if it's just a regular penny, it's always fun to search for those hidden treasures, right? Now, if you're ready to dive deeper into the world of rare coins, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I'll be dropping more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you find coins worth money, and I've got more stories and lessons learned from my own coin hunting adventures to share. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. Hey, fellow coin lovers! Hold on to your wallets because today, we're diving into a coin that's not just valuable, it's jaw-dropping. Imagine you're at home, rummaging through an old jar of pennies you've had for years, and bam! You pull out a 1967 Lincoln penny, and it could be worth a mind-blowing $1.4 million. No, seriously, that's the real deal. But before you start going through your penny jars with a magnifying glass, let's talk about this beauty, the 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny, why it's worth so much, and what makes it stand out. Grab some popcorn, relax, and let's get into the world of rare coins. This is going to be a fun ride. Well, let me explain. The 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a rare gem among a sea of pennies. You might be asking, what makes it different from the other pennies? Great question. Now, you're probably aware that US coins are typically stamped with a mint mark, those little letters that tell us where the coin was made, like D4 Denver or S4 San Francisco. But in 1967, something unusual happened. The penny didn't get a mint mark. Most pennies from that year were produced in Philadelphia, which typically didn't put mint marks on coins. So, if you find a 1967 penny with no mint mark, congratulations! You've got yourself a very special, very rare coin that could be worth a pretty penny, or a lot more than that. The current market value is around $1.4 million. Yep, that's not a typo. And here's the kicker, it's not just the lack of a mint mark that makes this coin valuable. It's the fact that it's incredibly rare. Most 1967 pennies have a mint mark, so the ones without it are considered in error, making them far more desirable to collectors. Years ago, I was at a family reunion, and my cousin and I were talking about coins. I'll be honest, I didn't know much back then, but I was pretending to be all expert-like. Anyway, my cousin starts pulling out these old coins from a bag, and I remember thinking, why on earth would anyone keep pennies that old? He had a bunch of them, just sitting there in a random plastic bag, not even in a coin sleeve or anything. One day, he's like, hey, check out this 1967 penny, and I swear, I didn't even bother to look closely. But then he says, this is one of the no mint mark ones. I raised an eyebrow, thinking it was just some random coin with a cool story attached to it. Fast forward a few years later, I learned that a no mint mark 1967 penny could easily go for over $1 million. If only I had paid more attention back then. Now, I don't want you to make the same mistake I did. So let's talk about how you can tell if your 1967 penny is worth millions or if it's just a regular old penny. You'll need to look for the absence of that mint mark. As I said, most 1967 pennies have one, but a few lucky, or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, pennies don't. You're looking for a 1967 penny that was minted in Philadelphia and has absolutely no mint mark. Keep in mind, these coins aren't easy to find. So if you come across one, don't just toss it into a jar. Take a closer look. If the coin looks unusual, take it to an expert for verification, but hold your horses. Just because you've got a 1967 penny without a mint mark doesn't automatically mean it's worth $1.4 million. There are several factors that determine its value, such as its condition, rarity, and demand in the market. So, a penny that's been through the ringer and looks like it's been run over by a truck is not going to fetch anywhere near that price. But if it's in mint condition, with sharp details and no wear, it could be worth a pretty decent amount. If you do find one of these beauties, make sure to preserve it properly. Don't toss it back in a jar with all your other coins. Get a nice protective case or coin sleeve for it. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value, and keeping it safe is one step in making sure you get the most bang for your buck when the time comes to sell or trade. The 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a rare and valuable piece of U.S. history that could be worth up to $1.4 million. If you ever find one, consider yourself lucky. But always remember, not every 1967 penny is going to make you a millionaire, and that's okay. There are plenty of other coins out there worth a lot of money that could be sitting in your pocket right now. But if you're serious about finding coins that could make you a fortune, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money. I'll be sharing everything I know about rare coins, how to spot them, and strategies to get the most value out of your collection. Plus, if you've got your own crazy coin stories, drop them in the comments below. I love hearing about people's hidden treasures. Hey, fellow treasure hunters and coin chasers. Welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into straight-up gold mines. Well, not literally gold, unless you're the kind of person who finds a gold nugget in their cereal box. So here's the deal. What if I told you that there's a penny from 1988 with a tiny little D mint mark that could be worth up to $1.5 million right now? Yep. A single cent. That tiny copper-colored disc you probably flicked across the room in high school is now worth more than your house, your car, and probably your student loans combined. Sounds nuts, right? But it's real. And today, we're diving deep into the juicy details of the 1988 D Lincoln penny, why it's so valuable, what makes it rare, and how you could possibly find one just lying around. And I've even got a personal story about this coin that'll make you check under your couch cushions before this video's over. So grab a snack, sit back, And let's uncover how this tiny penny could turn you into the next coin millionaire, alright? First things first. Let's talk about this shiny little superstar from 1988. You're probably thinking, it's just a penny. Big deal. But oh no, this one's different. This one's got a D mint mark, that little letter just below the date on the coin. The D stands for Denver, which is where it was minted, and now in general, most 1988 D pennies are pretty normal. They're made mostly of zinc with a thin copper coating, and they look like your average Lincoln cent. But here's the twist, there are errors and varieties that make a few of these worth a small fortune. One of the most famous is called the reverse of 1989 variety. Sounds like a movie sequel, right? But stick with me. This happens when the reverse design used was accidentally from the 1989 die instead of the 1988 one. You might be like, what's the big deal? Well, for coin nerds like us, it's a huge deal. Basically, if the FG initials on the reverse, those are the designer's initials, Frank Gasparo, in case you want to sound smart at parties, are tucked closer to the Lincoln Memorial, then boom, you might have the rare variety. And if your coin is in pristine condition, like never touched, minty fresh, you're talking about thousands. But if it's the ultra rare, perfect error? That's where the $1.5 million jackpot comes in, and you're probably wondering, why on earth would anyone pay that much for a penny? Great question. The world of coin collecting is wild, my friend. Some collectors have deep pockets and a deep love for rare varieties, especially ones that slip through the cracks during production. These errors are like unicorns, they're rare, beautiful, and people go absolutely bonkers for them. A couple years ago, I was helping my cousin clean out her junk drawer. You know the drawer I'm talking about: random batteries, expired coupons, some unsharpened pencils, and, of course, a bunch of loose change. I'm sifting through the coins and bam, there it is. A 1988 D penny, and now, I'm not saying I screamed, but the dog ran into the other room. I pulled out my little magnifier like a coin detective, checked the FG initials, and for a second, I thought it might be the rare one. My heart was beating faster than when I saw my electric bill last summer. Sadly, it wasn't the unicorn, but that moment taught me something important. These coins are out there. People find them. And you might, too. Check your change. Seriously. Check your pockets, your couch cushions, the cup holder in your car. That old coin jar in your grandma's house? Yeah, rate it. Because one of those pennies, just one, might have that special D mint mark and that tiny design flaw that makes it worth a whopping $1.50 million. Now, before you go running off to flip every penny you've ever seen, make sure you like this video and hit that big red subscribe button. We've got way more tips coming on coins worth crazy money, plus strategies on what to look for, how to grade them, and how to sell them for top dollar. And hey, if you've ever found a valuable coin or think you might have one, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. You never know, your story might be the one that inspires someone else to become the next coin millionaire. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and treasure seekers, welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into potential paydays. And if you're new here, buckle up, because today we're diving into a penny, yes, a humble little penny. That could be worth more than your car, your college tuition, and possibly even your house. Now, before you chuck that copper coin into the change jar, hear me out. This isn't just any penny. We're talking about the legendary 1979 D Lincoln penny with a current market value of $16 million. That's right, folks. 1.6 million. Yeah, you heard that right. That's the kind of cash that makes you start checking every drawer, couch cushion, and laundry machine in a 10-mile radius. Stick around, because I'm breaking down why this penny is worth so much, what to look for, and how you just might have a jackpot sitting right under your nose. The 1979 D Lincoln penny. What's the big deal? Right, it's just a regular OL penny from Denver. Well, hold your metal detectors, because there's more to this story than meets the eye. First, let's talk background. So 1979 was a wild year. Disco was dying, gas was expensive, and Star Wars was still blowing minds. And somewhere in the Denver Mint, a batch of Lincoln pennies was struck with something very special. Most of the 1979 D pennies are just regular coins worth face value, maybe a few cents more if they're in really good shape. But, and here's the twist, there are some extremely rare error coins and ultra high grade specimens that send collectors into a frenzy. We're talking about a few very specific conditions that make this coin worth a jaw-dropping $16 million. First things first, this $1 million penny is graded MS67 or higher. MS stands for mint state, and the grading scale goes up to 70. So if your penny looks like it just rolled off the mint conveyor belt yesterday without a scratch, you're already halfway to a fortune. Now, I don't mean the, hey, it looks shiny to me kind of good. I mean microscope perfect, no nicks, no Scratches nowhere on the high points. Lincoln's jacket needs to be crisp, his beard flowing like he's starring in a shampoo commercial. Here's the kicker: most pennies from 1979 got beat up real fast. They were tossed in pockets, dropped on the floor, chewed by toddlers, you name it. Finding one that survived in pristine condition for over 40 years is like finding a needle in a haystack if the haystack was on fire and the needle was made of gold. That's what makes this coin so rare and valuable. A few collectors got lucky and sent their shiny 1979 D penny to grading services like PCGS or NGC, and boom, those babies came back as ultra rare mint condition coins worth serious cash. And then you've got the holy grail of coin collecting: error coins. There are whispers of 1979 D pennies that were double struck off center or have weird planchet issues. Basically, the mint goofed up and created a masterpiece by accident. Imagine that you mess up at work and instead of getting fired, someone offers you 16 million. Now let me share a little story. So a few years ago I was helping my grandpa clean out his garage. He's the kind of guy who keeps everything from rusty nails to broken radios. Anyway, we came across this old Folgers coffee can packed with pennies. I'm talking hundreds of them. So of course I did what any responsible grandchild would do. I poured myself a coffee and dumped the whole can on the table to dig through it. Hours later my hands were dirty, my back hurt, and I had a newfound respect for coin collectors. But here's the wild part: I actually found a 1979 D penny in there. My heart started racing. I grabbed a magnifying glass. My phone light was on full blast. I felt like Indiana Jones looking for treasure. Now unfortunately mine had a few too many scratches and didn't pass the mint state test, but you better believe it lit a fire in me. Ever since then I check every penny that crosses my path. You never know when Lady Luck will toss a $16 million penny your way. First check the date and mint mark. Look for 1979 with the little d under the date. Second, check the condition. If it's scratched, dinged, or looks like it went through a war, probably not your golden ticket. But if it looks crisp and perfect, consider sending it in for grading. Third, if you notice anything weird like the design is off center or doubled letters, take it seriously. That could be a valuable error. Finally, stay patient. Coin collecting is like fishing. Sometimes you sit for hours with nothing, but when you get a bite, it could be life-changing. So there you have it, folks, the 1979 D Lincoln penny. A coin that could be hiding in plain sight, worth a staggering 16 million. Now I don't know about you, but I'm definitely checking my change after this. If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips on how to find coins worth big money, hit that subscribe button, smack that like, and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss a beat, whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who likes the thrill of the hunt. This channel's got your back. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep your eyes open and your pockets full of potential, and remember that next penny could be your $1 million payday. Hey, welcome back, my fellow treasure hunters. Let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever flipped a penny and thought, wow, this could be worth a fortune? No? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into one humble little coin that could literally change your life, the 1971 mint mark Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard that right. One of these little brown coins, something most people ignore or leave at the bottom of their cup holders, is currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. That's right. $1.7 million for a penny. I know what you're thinking: what kind of alternate universe are we living in where a penny is worth more than my house? Well, stick around because we're about to go full Indiana Jones on this thing. We'll break down why it's worth so much, what to look for, and how you might have one just sitting around. Plus, I'll share a little story about how I almost cashed in and totally blew it. Spoiler alert, it involves laundry, heartbreak, and a very confused cat. So grab your coffee, shake out that old coin jar, and let's get into the legend of the 1971 Lincoln penny. Alright, so first, let's talk about what makes this specific penny so darn special. Now, most pennies are made in massive quantities. Billions with a B. The 1971 Lincoln pennies were no different. But what makes the 1971 mint mark stand out is not just its limited production, but the freaking crazy rarity of certain high-grade proof versions. We're talking about a few ultra-rare examples that are struck so perfectly, collectors drool over them like it's the last slice of pizza at a party. The S stands for San Francisco, which was responsible for producing proof coins that year. These weren't just regular coins tossed into circulation, they were made for collectors, struck with more detail, on highly polished dies, and basically treated like the Beyoncé of pennies. But here's where things get spicy. In 1971, some of these coins were minted with a special type of die known as the doubled die obverse. And if you're thinking, whoa, what the heck is a doubled die? Don't worry, I got you. A doubled die happens when the design on the die, the thing that stamps the coin, shifts slightly during production, causing parts of the coin's image to be doubled. On the 1971's penny, if you look closely at Lincoln's profile, the date, or the phrase "In God We Trust," you might notice what looks like a shadow or duplicate image. That's the moneymaker. That's the magic, and if your coin has that, you might just be sitting on a gold mine. Well, a copper mine, technically, but you get the point. Now let's talk numbers. In 2023, one of these rare 1971's double die proof pennies sold at auction for, wait for it, $1.7 million. That's like winning the lottery just for checking your spare change, but wait, it gets better. Most people don't even know this penny is valuable. It's the ultimate underdog story. It's like if your weird Uncle Larry suddenly got cast in a superhero movie. No one sees it coming. Already off to a bad start, right? Anyway, I hear this rattling noise in the dryer and realize I left some change in my jeans. I pull it out and, lo and behold, there's a shiny 1971's penny sitting on top of the lint trap, just chillin' like it's about to pay rent. I get excited. My heart starts pounding. I whip out my magnifying glass like Sherlock Holmes, start checking for doubling. Date looks weird, Liberty looks off, and I'm thinking this is. I rush to my local coin shop, full of hope, sweat, and caffeine. The guy looks at it, squints, gives me a smirk, and says, "Nice coin." But it's not the double die. Crushed. Utterly crushed. I went home, ate 2 pints of ice cream, and promised myself I'd learn everything about rare coins. And now here we are, baby. Don't toss your pennies. And definitely check your change before you toss it in the laundry. Okay, first, never underestimate the power of a penny. That 1971's Lincoln penny might look like just another crusty coin, but with the right features, that special double die, it could be worth more than most luxury cars a second. Always inspect your coins. Grab a magnifying glass, do a little detective work, and who knows? You might just stumble on one of these rare beauties. If you made it this far into the video, you are officially part of the coin crew. Welcome! And if you're digging this content, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button like it owes you money, give this video a thumbs up, and drop a comment telling me about the weirdest coin you've ever found. I've got more tips, tricks, and treasure stories coming your way. Whether you're a casual collector or a full-blown coin nerd like me, this channel's got your back. Hey coin lovers and treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel where your loose change might just be your golden ticket to riches. Now hold on to your wallets and maybe take a peek inside them, because today we're talking about a humble little coin that could make you a millionaire. Yup, you heard me right. The 1980 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth up to $1.8 million. No, that's not a typo. $1.8 million for a penny you probably used to buy gum with back in the day. Stick around because we're diving deep into why this coin is so rare, how to spot one, and how you could potentially cash in big. And just so you know, if you've ever accidentally vacuumed up spare change, you might want to go digging in that dust bag later. So what's the deal with the 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny? Well, let's start with a quick refresher, because I know some of us haven't looked closely at a penny since we were 10 years old, trying to flatten it on a railroad track normally. Pennies from 1980 were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Denver have a D mint mark. San Francisco coins usually have an S, and Philadelphia coins back in 1980 were unique because they often had no mint mark at all. But here's the twist: not all no mint mark pennies are created equal. Some 1980 no mint mark pennies were struck with such perfection and on rare planchets that they became major collector's items, and I mean major as in $1 million major. Now picture this: some guy cleaning out an old junk drawer finds a penny that looks a little shinier than the others, and boom, it turns out to be worth $1.8 million. And here I am still looking for socks that match these specific rare 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies. Have certain qualities that set them apart. First, they're struck on a bronze planchet with flawless detail, which is unusual since the mint was transitioning materials during this time. Second, the coin has to be in pristine condition. We're talking mint state MS67 or higher, so no bite marks, no scratches, no turning it into a makeshift screwdriver back in college. And third, there's the mystery of a few rare double die errors on some 1980 no-mint Mark coins. Double die errors happen when the coin's design is stamped more than once, slightly off alignment, making letters or numbers look a bit fuzzy or doubled. Collectors go wild for these mistakes because they're like finding a Picasso where he accidentally spilled his coffee on the canvas. Now if you're sitting there wondering if you've got a mini fortune sitting in your coin jar, you're not alone. A couple years ago I was cleaning out my dad's old garage. Now my dad was the kind of guy who didn't throw away anything. We're talking broken lawn mowers, half-used paint cans, and for some reason a bag full of pennies from the 70s and 80s. After about an hour of being hunched over like a squirrel counting acorns, I found a 1980 penny with no mint mark. He squinted, I flipped it, I even did that weird dad move. where you breathe on it and rub it on your shirt to see better. It wasn't one of the $1 million ones, but let me tell you, the thrill of maybe, just maybe, having found a jackpot coin was totally worth the back pain. And hey, that coin did end up being worth a solid $25, so win-win. Now if you're thinking, okay, how can I tell if I've got the golden ticket penny? Here are some tips. Second, inspect the coin for any doubling in the letters, especially on Liberty and IN God We Trust. Third, look at the condition. If it's been through your washing machine 5 times, it probably isn't going to fetch much, but if it looks crisp, sharp and fresh like it just came out of the mint, you might have something special. Also consider getting it professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Yet I know they charge a fee, but if your penny turns out to be a rare one, that's a small price to pay for potentially becoming a millionaire. Think of it like buying a lottery ticket that you already own. Let's say you do have the $1.8 million penny. Would now, well, first, try not to scream too loud. Your neighbors will think you've won the actual lottery. Second, don't spend it at the gas station by mistake, please. Third, reach out to a professional coin dealer or auction house. There are reputable dealers who specialize in high value coins and they can guide you through getting the best deal. Trust me, you don't want to sell a rare penny to some guy on the internet named Coin Lovers 6969. That's not how you make millions, that's how you lose your coin and your dignity. Oh, and bonus tip, if you're showing your coins to someone, don't say look at my rare coin and throw it at them like a poker chip. Use gloves, store it in a protective case and keep it away from moisture, heat and children who think coins are edible. And while we're on the topic, always check your change. I had a friend who got a 1943 copper penny in his change at a donut shop. Yes, those are also worth hundreds of thousands. He was too busy complaining about how they forgot his sprinkles to notice, so take a second and flip those pennies over. You never know what you're holding. This hobby is like treasure hunting, except you don't need a shovel or a pirate hat, just a little curiosity and maybe a magnifying glass. First, never underestimate a penny, especially if it's from 1980 and has no mint mark. Second, that old jar of coins in your closet might be the safest investment you didn't know you had. And third, if you want to make money while having fun learning some history and becoming the Sherlock Holmes of spare change, then coin collecting is where it's at. Now if you enjoyed this video and you want more awesome tips on how to find valuable coins in your own home, grocery store, change or couch cushions, hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Smash that like button, leave a comment if you think you might have a rare penny, and share this video with a friend who always pays in exact change, who knows you might be helping them uncover a small fortune. And don't forget, we've got more videos coming up on coins worth thousands, even millions. Stay curious, stay patient and keep flipping those pennies.